Hi everyone, it's Beth from the West Dallas Public Library, and welcome to the last day in What Was Pompeii. This is our summer Who HQ book club, and one reminder, sign up for summer reading today. If you've listened to me read all day, you can probably mark off at least 3 books on the reading log, because every 20 minutes is one of those books. Or you can, if you're making it hard, you can just do 1 book. Okay, onward. Chapter 11, Cleaning Up. Since hardly any houses, even those of the very rich, had bathrooms, nearly all Pompeians went to one of the 3 public bathhouses to get themselves clean. The baths were large and lavish and only charged a small fee. The biggest was at the crossing of Pompeii's 2 main streets. Another was close to the Forum. At each of the public baths, men and women had their own separate areas with changing rooms, toilets, outdoor exercise space, and rooms with hot, warm, or cold water. Visitors left their clothes and belongings in a changing room. Men might first choose to go to a gymnasium to exercise. After working up a good sweat, they would return to the changing room. Attendants would scrape off dirt and sweat with a tool called a strigil, and then give their customers a massage. Later, it might be time to take a swim in the pool or spend time in the baths, which were each kept at different temperatures. There was a hot, steamy room called the caldarium, a warm room called tepidarium, and a small circular room, the frigidarium, where men took a plunge into cold water. The women's part of the bath only had a caldarium and tepidarium. A small cold bath was part of their changing room, while men had a separate lavish frigidarium instead. The baths had furnace rooms that heated the water. Hot air from the furnaces were channeled underneath the stone floors of the warm and hot rooms. The floor was so hot that bathers had to wear wooden-soled sandals to protect their feet from burning. So have you ever been to the beach on a really hot day and the sand is so hot you can't even walk on it? Sounds like that's how their bathhouses were. So they had to wear shoes to protect their feet. Besides keeping Pompeians clean and healthy, the public bath was a place where people could socialize. They could gossip, argue about politics, or discuss the most recent matches between gladiators. Okay, short blurb about the aqueduct. Pompeii had a plentiful supply of fresh water, thanks to a 25-mile-long aqueduct. An aqueduct is a system for carrying a large amount of water. The aqueduct replaced Pompeians' dependence on getting water from the Sarno River or from wells. Water from the aqueduct came to the city through lead pipes and into a building where it was funneled in 3 directions. Some water went to Pompeii's many public fountains, and some went to the public baths, and some went directly into the homes of the wealthy. There were so many public fountains in Pompeii that archaeologists say no citizen had to work farther than 90 yards to get fresh water. Interesting. Okay, chapter 12. Herculaneum. Pompeii was not the only city destroyed by the eruption of Vesuvius in 79 AD. Herculaneum was a small resort where wealthy Romans built villas overlooking the Bay of Naples. Like Pompeii, Herculaneum disappeared and quickly was forgotten. But unlike Pompeii, Herculaneum was not covered up by ash and pumice. Instead, it was encased in something called pyroclastic flow, a fast-moving mixture of hot gas and rock. It could go up to 450 miles an hour. It descended like an avalanche and in an instant burned the people of Herculaneum to a crisp. Only their bones remained. While the pyroclastic flow cooled, it hardened like solid concrete. This made excavation much more difficult than Pompeii. The first evidence of the buried city turned up in 1710 when a farmer digging a well near a town called Racina uncovered slabs of marble. After that, a rich local landowner hired men to dig tunnels into the site to find marble to decorate his new home. When the home was finished, he had the tunnels blocked and work stopped. Then, in 1738, marble slabs with the inscription Theatrum Herculanesi, the theater of Herculaneum, were found. Now the buried city had a name. Because excavating at Herculaneum has always proved so difficult, most of the city has been left just as it was. Even today, 75% of Herculaneum remains buried. Still, there have been some important discoveries. A very large villa was uncovered, and it is one of the largest Roman villas ever found. Over 250 yards long, the villa has beautiful gardens, many fountains, and over 80 magnificent sculptures. The villa also contains a library of nearly 1,800 ancient scrolls. But the heat of the pyroclastic flow turned the scrolls into carbon. While more than 2 million tourists visit Pompeii every year, only about 320,000 make a stop at Herculaneum. One reason is that because of the difficulty of excavation, there's not nearly as much to see. But another reason is that the modern city, Ercolano, sits right on top of much of the ruins. Whew. Okay, chapter 13. Pompeii today. Although Pompeii is a tremendously popular tourist site, for many visitors, it is a disappointing experience. Large sections of Pompeii are closed to visitors because they are unsafe. Today, the city of Pompeii is in grave danger. Buildings have been collapsing. In November 2010, the walls of the Gladiator barracks crumbled overnight into piles of bricks. This and other collapses are the result of years of neglect and mismanagement. Poor maintenance of Pompeii's buildings have left valuable artifacts exposed to the elements. Without adequate protection, mosaics and frescoes disintegrate, roofs cave in, and walls crumble. Herculaneum had been experiencing the same problems. 2/3 of the ruins were closed to visitors. Wall collapses and flaking frescoes were common. Today, thanks to the combined efforts of British, American, and Italian art organizations, Herculaneum is in great shape. New areas of the ruins are being opened to tourists, and archaeologists and art conservators have taken a new approach to solving Herculaneum's problems. Because water and humid conditions were the cause of most of the damage to the buildings and artwork, protective roofing was installed wherever it was needed. Ancient storm drains and sewers were opened up to direct groundwater away from the buildings. Once that was accomplished, conservators were able to restore important frescoes and mosaics, and buildings that were about to collapse have been stabilized and reopened to the public. Now the Italian government, with funding from UNESCO, the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, say it will follow the Herculaneum model at Pompeii. Incompetent managers have been fired, drainage will be improved, and additional restorers will be hired and trained to work at Pompeii. This is welcome news for anyone interested in Roman art, architecture, and history. There is simply no place like Pompeii anywhere else on our planet. The end. All right. Thank you for watching the first season, or the first book. We'll say the first book, What Was Pompeii, in our Who HQ Summer Story Time. Join us next week for a brand new title. And don't forget to sign up for summer reading. All right, I'll see you Monday at 7. Bye, everyone.